I've been using the Vision Pro with my Mac for 2 weeks now, and in some ways it has been incredible, but in other ways it is frustrating. So is it worth getting one of these if you want to use it for the Mac Virtual Display? Well, I'll give you guys the good and the bad. Now, Apple mostly showed off using it with a small MacBook like a 13-inch, and for that it is amazing because you have this tiny slim device that has a small screen, but now bam, you can make it massive, and that is amazing, especially if you're traveling or moving in different places. But even here at the office with a desktop, it is awesome to have that huge display. Now I have a 32-inch 6K XDR display, and using this still is so much nicer because the screen can be huge. Now it also eliminates the issue where if you have too big of a screen, it becomes unusable because it's just too close to you, because you can change the distance, make the screen further away and larger, and that does actually help. And the crazy thing is the quality doesn't change when you make the screen larger. Typically a 32-inch 4K display looks worse than a 27 or a 24-inch, and in this case it looks great no matter how large it is. Now I have to say it doesn't look as sharp as my 6K monitor, but it's similar to a 32-inch 4K display, and with that the color accuracy is quite good for photo and video editing. And if you're in the professional space, high-end displays are way more expensive than a Vision Pro, and you can also go in and you can change the resolution in your Mac to get more screen real estate, which is what a lot of people don't know. And of course, with that, you can use that screen anywhere. I showed off using it outside, using it over my building, which is crazy. So you can have your Mac in another room. For example, I had my Mac in a different room and I was able to pull it up and use it. So if you have a server room or a media center, you can just remotely connect to it. You don't have to look for a pop-up above the display, and you don't need to go there, and you don't need to have a special monitor for that Mac. Luke Miani, for example, made a screenless MacBook Air, and it's pretty much a super thin keyboard and trackpad. It's fanless, and the display is your Vision Pro. So these are all things that are kind of impossible to do and use without one of these devices. So it's very special. Now, of course, I'm also going to be using this for flying. I'm actually flying somewhere on Sunday, so I'm super excited to test it out. And in the past, I've actually used the Nreal Air, and the quality sucked. It was jittery. It wasn't that great in that scenario, but with this, it's just going to be amazing. You're not cramped on an airplane trying to look at a little monitor. Everybody's watching you. You can just go to a whole nother dimension with this on, and that just adds on to the privacy, both on an airplane, but also in an office or work environment. And that is one of the things that I have loved in the last 2 weeks, being able to get yourself out of your office or out of your room into a whole nother space. It just makes it magical. And I've found that it actually helps me to be able to focus on my work and be able to just see what's in front of me, get work done. And then of course, like I mentioned, the privacy setting. And another thing that I've really enjoyed is using the blended mode, which is like magic, where I can adjust it. And then if I look down, I can still see my desk and my keyboard. I can look to the side and see the guys over there. So you're kind of mixed, and it is just super sweet and something very special. Now, those are the positives and they are great, but now we have to talk about the negatives because they are very serious. And I think the first one is the fact that you can only have one display. With that Nreal or Xreal Air, you can actually have 3, and that is just plugged into your Mac. So it seems weird that we can only use one, and I think Apple has to fix it, because even if you make your screen real estate smaller, you can make the screen big, it is nice to be able to just split up into multiple displays of different apps, and I really, really want that to happen. And it's not the same as opening up different applications with your headset. And one big reason is because the audio support is messed up, and I don't know if they can fix this. For example, I was trying to video edit, and I also wanted to use an app on the Vision Pro to be able to listen to some audio, but you can't connect AirPods to both, because even though your Mac will send the video signal, it will not send an audio signal to the headset itself. So you're stuck using either your Mac audio or the Vision Pro, and that definitely is a limitation. Now with that, I would love to have touch support with the Mac display, just like you have with the Vision Pro apps. Being able to press something, click really quickly, drag something, it just be really natural to have that, because sometimes you're just stuck using multiple input methods to run both of them. Now, I've been using my Vision Pro everywhere, and you've seen so much of our behind the scenes, both here at the studio and at home. And like most creatives, when in the zone creating, things can get messy. It took me hours to clean my garage, but thankfully with your Mac, you can go from files everywhere filling up your drive to a nice clean Mac in seconds with our sponsor's app, Clean My Mac X. Clean My Mac makes this easy, and SmartScan does 3 jobs with 1 click to clean up, protect, and speed up your Mac after you're done creating. I've used it for 4 years now because it is fast and easy. Space Lens finds and deletes a bunch of hidden junk files and large files you forgot about, and optimization increases your Mac's performance. I use the memory free up button all the time, and there's a bunch of other helpful tools and features. Embrace your creative mess and use Clean My Mac X for the rest, so your computer won't be slowing down. Try it out with a 7-day free trial by using the link in the video description below. And the next kind of annoying part is that when you connect to your Mac and you set up a virtual workspace where I had a bunch of different apps open, as soon as you shut the thing off, or say you're leaving to your house, that all goes away. So I would love to be able to save workspaces or profiles where I come into the office, either it already knows it, or I can open a profile and I have all my displays set up with the different apps for productivity, and then be able to come home and have a different kind of a setup that would just save so much time and extra work and effort. Now, the next thing I have to talk about is latency. When you're working with your Mac and you have your virtual display, there is a little bit of latency. It is very good compared to everything else, but then if you also want to use AirPods, that adds another layer. And if you're doing something like video editing, you have the extra delay from the AirPods, which are typically noticeable, plus the delay of the wireless signal. And that part of it does kind of suck if you do something where stuff needs to be quick and synced up. And I think the last kind of main issue is the sharpness. Now, I said it is as sharp as a 32-inch 4K display, and for most people that is fantastic. Some people even buy large 4K OLED TVs for video editing and photo editing, but since I am used to my 6K, sometimes I actually would choose to take the headset off because I want that super crisp, sharp look. And the weird thing is, watching content through the headset and looking at the UI and menus, it is very sharp, sharper than the virtual Mac display. So I think this has to do with either the bandwidth with the wireless video being sent through, some kind of a limitation. Now, if you guys have seen the developer headband for the Vision Pro, it's expensive and it has a USB output. Now, a lot of companies have said, or different websites have said, that it's USB 2.0, so it's kind of worthless, but it actually came out that it's Thunderbolt, it's not USB 2.0, so it would be so cool to be able to have a wired connection, we already have this, or maybe pass through from the battery to get rid of latency, fix some of those issues, and allow it to have multiple displays that will be sharper, because the screens built into the Vision Pro are better quality than what you see connected to your Mac. So let's answer the original question. Is it worth getting a Vision Pro for your Mac? It's a ton of money, and honestly, I think that if you want to replace a display, or if you're somebody that travels a lot, or you're working at the office, working from home, going to other locations, it is so amazing to be able to connect, have the privacy, and have a huge screen. And it's something that nothing else can really touch or replace the experience of it. You're gonna buy a larger MacBook, you're gonna buy a display for your house, and other places you're still gonna be limited. So in that scenario, if you can benefit from that, I think it is absolutely worth it as long as you can afford it. It's just something that is just crazy that it's possible. It'll get better in the future, software will get better, so I'm looking forward to that. But if you're somebody that just wants to play around with it, you're not as serious, you don't move around all the time, it's better just to buy a desk setup with a larger display, and maybe a little bit larger Mac if you're gonna be on the go, and you're gonna save money and probably have a better experience. So that is my kind of answer after these last 2 weeks. the display, the Vision Pro and the displays are amazing, but there are still those limitations. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Click above if you guys want to see our full review. Check out one of those videos right over there. This is Max, and I'll see you in the next one.